Hello, everybody. Do apologize about being a bit late. So I don't know if there's anybody here. So let me just check and make sure my mic is registering sound. And my mic is registering sound. Perfect. All right. So perfect. All right. Verified with my phone. We have got sound. All right. Oh, just came in from outside and it is pretty chilly. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about some basic health concerns that we should have for our dogs, and talk about how they affect our dogs and why it's important that we need to keep an eye on these things. Nails. Now, I know we talk about clipping their nails and keeping their nails short and under control, but what a lot of people don't understand is that sorry, I'm freezing. Chronic long nails can actually cause a lot of problems, and a lot of people don't know that chronic long nails can lead to arthritis, can lead to injuries to the feet and legs. You're putting unnecessary strain and tension on the ligaments and bones and structure of the feet, because dog feet, they should be walking on their toes on the front of the foot. And with long nails, it pushes the foot to the back. So you're actually pulling the foot out of alignment, causing the gait to be out of alignment, and that can cause injuries or the susceptibility to injuries. Again, you're pulling the foot out of alignment, causing stress on the joints and bones of the foot. And that can lead to, if this is a chronic issue, can lead to development of arthritis in the feet and the joints of the feet. So keeping those nails under control and keeping them short is very important. Matting in dogs with longer hair. Hey, Kim. So matting in cases of long-haired dogs, not only is it a cosmetic issue, but it's also a health concern. Debris, dander, bugs, insects can get under the mats. Moisture can get under the mats. And matting is where you get a tangle, and that tangle gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then as it gets bigger, it works deeper and deeper up against the skin. And when you get moisture underneath the mats, that can cause basically sloughing of the skin, because that mat has got moisture under it and it's constantly rubbing the skin. And so you get sloughing of the skin, and that's called a hot spot. If you get dirt or debris underneath, then that's basically acting as basically sandpaper against the skin, because that mat will move every time the dog moves, and that's just rubbing that dirt or debris up against the skin. And you're basically it's basically just rubbing like sandpaper against the skin, causing irritation and causing sores and wounds. Then you can also get insects mixed in with those mats and under the mats. And that can cause all kinds of nastiness as well. Matting can also get so severe that it can restrict blood flow to the skin. So you're not getting proper blood flow through the skin. And this is especially apparent when a dog has been shaved. In the ears have been matted so badly that when you shave the ears and all of a sudden you release those mats on the ears and the blood flow is returned so quickly that it actually pressurizes the ear flap and acts as a bruise almost, so severely that the blood actually seeps through the ear flap skin, and it almost looks like you've cut the dog, but it's not. It's just because the blood flow has been restored and it's been lacking for so long that it just comes back with so much force that it just actually seeps through the skin. I've seen that happen with the tips of tails, things like that. Matting can also become so severe that, and that's a text message. Let me make sure it's not my kids. No, we're good. I've seen matting so severe that it restricts actual movement and motion for the dog. So the dog is restricted in their actual movement. So keeping your longer haired dogs mat free or tangle free is very important for their actual health as well. Ear health. Ears should be cleaned regularly if needed. If your dog builds up a lot of dirt or debris or gets a funny smell in their ears, keeping them clean with a bit of witch hazel or ear cleaner, commercial ear cleaner. If you're not sure what you should buy, or if you speak to your vet, by all means. Typically, if your dog doesn't have a lot of buildup or discharge from the ears, that's a good healthy ear, and I wouldn't mess with the pH of the ear unless you need to use a cleaner. That's just a personal thing for myself. If you have a dog that does have a lot of buildup or a lot of waxy discharge, just like a normal person, you only clean your ears when you need to. Same thing with the dog, but always keep a close eye on their ears. You just don't want to you want to make sure you're just not throwing off the natural pH of their ears if they have a healthy ear. But you always want to make sure and keep an eye that their ears are healthy. Eyes. There are a lot of breeds that tend to tear more. And this is something I actually talk to a lot of my clients about regularly. The rust color stains that they get around the eyes. And let me explain something. So the rust color staining that you see, that's usually nothing to be worried about. The staining in and of itself is nothing serious. That rust color, all that is a simple stain, and it's usually only seen in lighter colors and white. And the reason you see that is because the pH of the fluid, be it tears, saliva, or urine, is different than the pH of the fur. And it causes that rust-colored stain. That's all that is. Now, if it's significant, and there's a lot of crusty buildup and you're concerned about that, that's where you might want to see the vet. Make sure that there's nothing significant going on that would cause that. But the stain itself is usually nothing to be concerned about, because that's just a difference of the pH of the fluid and the hair. But you want to make sure that the eyes are not overly dry, not overly wet, not continuously red where it should be in the whites of the eyes. You're not getting a lot of yellowy, mucusy, pussy discharge. You want to make sure that you're keeping a good close eye on your dog's eyes for any of that, especially in windy weather, because sand, dirt can get blown around, light debris can get blown around and blown into your dog's eyes, especially with the smoosh-faced. I know there's a special name for it, but I have a hard time saying it, so I'm not going to try to say it. But the smoosh nose, but a lot of the smoosh-faced dogs also have bulging eyes, and they are very prone to dry eye issues. So if you have a smoosh-faced dog, yes, thank you. Then you know, you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye out for signs of dry eye issues in those smoosh-faced dogs. Sometimes you can even use eyes as a signal for you can sometimes even use your dog's eyes as a sign of seasonal allergies. So keeping an eye on their eyes and what's going on with their eyes can tell you of some things that's going on with them as well. Teeth. Hi. Keeping your dog's teeth healthy is always important. And this is something that I talk to my clients a lot about, especially with, thank you. Especially with the mini and toy and teacup breeds, because many of these breeds have been bred down from a standard size. This is something that's very important to keep an eye on, because they have not been, just because they've been bred down, that doesn't mean that genetically their DNA has changed to account for that. So they still have the same amount of teeth as their standard size counterparts. So a lot of these miniature and teacup dogs tend to have a lot of dental issues. And if you don't keep up with proper dental care, you can have a lot of middle to late age dental issues. So I'm always a very loud advocate for dental hygiene for these miniature and teacup breeds, because that's just not something that's talked about a lot, because their teeth are just so crammed into this tiny mouth that they just don't have enough room in their mouths for all these teeth, and they tend to have a lot of buildup that builds up much faster than say their standard sized counterparts. So that's something that tends to be less spoken about and can cause issues quickly, because there's so many teeth crammed into such a small area that they can have an issue way back in the back of the mouth that you just can't see because their mouth is so small. So staying up on proper dental hygiene is very important. Many groomers do offer teeth brushing as a service. I do not. And I will be 100% honest, just as I am with my clients here. I don't offer that as a service. And it's simply because if I offer that here once every 4 to 12 weeks, which is the average of what my clients come to see me, it's highly unlikely that it will be done at home on a regular basis. And to me, that is a waste of my client's money and my time, because I have to charge for my time and the products that I use. If for something that will not be productive, it needs to be done by a vet, because the dog would need to be put under anesthesia, because they would be, they would use a metal scaler, and they would scale the teeth and scrape the teeth, and it would pass under the gum line, just like they would us, where dentists would clean under the gum line. They do the same thing to dogs. And I am not allowed to do that as a groomer, and per my AKC agreement for my certification with the AKC organization, I'm not allowed to do invasive procedures. And basically anything that passes the barrier of the skin is considered an invasive procedure. And I am not allowed to do that as a groomer. So to be done properly, it would have to be scaled, and scaling includes passing the barrier of the skin by scaling under the gum line. So I can't do that. So it's if it's not going to be done regularly at home, for it to be productive, I'm not going to waste my clients' money by charging them to do that. That's just my personal stance on that. And that's, my clients have all so far been very happy with me being very honest about it. So that's how I do that. That's just not a service that I offer. Many grooming salons do, but that's, to each their own. But dental hygiene is very important. This one might be a bit gross, so please feel free to tune out, and I will give a little wave when it's safe to tune back in. Anal glands. Every single dog has anal glands, unless they've been surgically removed. It is a small gland on either side of the rectum, just inside the anal opening. So imagine this is the anal opening. So the gland is just on the inside, right in this position. Every time a dog defecates, there is a give and take of intestinal mucus and fecal matter. In the cases of dogs about 20 pounds and lighter, they will sometimes have a hard time because they don't have enough strength or mass or both, that when they scoot or lick, they're effective in expressing those glands on their own. And that's where we as groomers come in, to where we're able to help them. And we would express those glands for them. Not all dogs, small dogs, have issues with their glands. Not all large dogs don't have issues with those glands. the top signs or symptoms that you should keep an eye out for is excessive scooting, excessive licking, or excessively acting like they can't poop, or excessively like they're constipated and having a hard time pooping. Those are going to be the top 3 signs that your dog may need to have their glands expressed. You do not always have to go to the vet to have that done. Many grooming salons will offer that as an add-on service by itself. So if you think that that might be the issue, you are more than welcome. You know, most grooming salons, hey Jen, most grooming salons will offer that. You just need to call around and ask which ones would offer that as a add-on service by itself. And you can try that by itself before going to the vet to see if it's a deeper issue going on with your dog. So, and that might save you a very expensive vet visit for a simple issue before having to go to more in-depth. Shedding. I know a lot of people talk about this, but it can actually be a health issue. Not keeping your dog properly shedded out can actually keep no, those are for my kids. They are at the library for their group. So if your dog is not releasing their shed hair, it can become compacted, and they can actually overheat. So keeping the coat hydrated and moisturized is very important for the hair, once released from the skin, to actually slide out of the coat like it's supposed to and drop. Keeping compacted coat and compacted hair in, not only does it cause the dog to actually overheat, it can cause the skin to become excessively dry and itchy. It can also hold in excessive dander against the skin, causing the skin again to become dry and itchy, as well as stopping the skin itself from being able to breathe normally. So it can all cause a lot of dryness, super dry skin, super itchy, causing the dog to be actually scratch itself raw and cause sores. So keeping your dog shedding properly is very essential to the skin. Proper diet. This one's kind of tricky because this is going to be a little bit more individual to the dog. The vast majority of people actually overfeed their pets. Yes, absolutely. It would happen the same way. And then also, not only would it cause the dry skin, a lot of this, not all of these aspects, but a lot of this could actually cross over to cats as well. The matting issues, the ears, eyes, proper diet, proper amount of, the rest of this. So a lot of this, if you want to go back and rewatch some of this on replay, some of this actually would actually go cross over to kittens and cats as well. Yes. So proper diet. The vast majority of people actually overfeed their animals. And it is causing a lot of health issues, or not feeding them the proper diet. some dogs absolutely need grain-free. Not all dogs need grain-free. They're finding that some dogs cannot have grain-free. They're finding that they're finding that grain-free in certain breeds can actually have a higher risk of leading to heart defects. So doing some research, speaking with your vet, making sure that you understand what your breed actually needs is very important. Understanding and taking into consideration, there are feeding recommendations on the bag of every single brand of dog food. They're there for a reason. They're recommended for a reason. If you have a dog, like my dog is in training for service dog, on the days that we've done a lot of training, I'll cut back on her food a little bit because she's had more treats, which goes along with what Jen just said. On days that we haven't gone anywhere, where we haven't done any major training, she gets the recommended feeding dosage. So all of that, you have to, keep things like that in mind. She is Mona, my dog, is a pit, so she needs a little bit higher protein count. If you have a teacup poodle who was bred to be solely for the purpose of being a lap dog, they don't need a super high protein dog food. So you need to look at what the dietary needs are for your breed and feed accordingly. And in my case, like I said, Mona is in training, and some days we do a lot of extra training for her service work. Some days we don't. On the days that we do a lot of training, she does get more treats. So I account for that in her food intake. So her food intake fluctuates a little bit depending on how much training we've done that day. So you just, proper diet is going to be key. If you're feeding a lower quality kibble, maybe think about adding some extra supplements if you can. I know finances plays a lot into that too. So those are just things to maybe think about. If monthly you can't afford a super high quality kibble or food, but maybe you can afford a little bit of, supplements that might, give the kibble or the food that you're feeding a little bit of higher quality overall. I mean, there are ways to make it better. But think about overall how to make the proper diet and account for those changes that you need to make. If your dog needs to be on a diet to lose weight, slowly cut back instead of just going from free feeding if your dog is massively overweight to all of a sudden only giving them the recommended. You're going to have to cut back slowly so your dog doesn't think they're starving all day long. That's not going to be good. Slowly take away free feeding and then slowly cut back to the, from 4 cups a day to, let's say she's, I think it's 2.5 cups. I don't know. I have the scoop is what she gets, and it's measured to what she needs. You know, so if you're free feeding and then, okay, off. Okay, off. I know. Thank you. And, you know, so go free feeding, so one big bowl. And then from that, slowly work to what the recommended dosage is over time. That's the best way to um, that's the best way to get to where you need to be from a free feeding situation if your dog needs to lose weight. You know, so it's a process. And, you know, goes right into proper exercise. So the other day on the slide, we talked about again, I'm gonna check my mic. Let me check. Yeah, my mic's still showing. It's very electrical now. Does that sound better? She found it. Yeah. No, down here. Make sure. Okay. How's it sound now? Can you hear me? Okay, good. Whew. Okay. So this kind of also rolls into kind of what we were talking about in my last live with the poodles and the doodles and the high energy drives. Making sure that your dog has the proper amount of exercise that it needs for the type of breed it is. So Mona being pit, she's going to kind of be right in the middle of a lap dog versus a working dog. If you live in an apartment, a one-bedroom studio apartment, and you have a young Australian Shepherd or Border Collie, you're going to have to take that dog out somewhere and let him run. You're going to have to give that dog some kind of outlet, or you're going to end up with a dog that is either destructive or nervous or some kind of issue because it's got too much energy and they're working dogs. So if you don't find some outlet for the breed of dog that you have, you're not going to end up with a healthy dog. You have to, every breed is going to have the minimum amount of exercise that they need. Even a lap dog is going to need at least some exercise, some minimum amount of exercise. Even if it's to go out, make a lap around the yard 2 or 3 times a day. Every dog is going to need a minimum amount of exercise, even a lap dog. So making sure that your dog gets the minimum amount of exercise every day is essential to their overall health. You have to keep their joints moving. You have to keep their blood moving. I mean, you have to keep their digestion moving. If they get too sedentary, it's just like us. How well do we work if we sit all day long and don't move? We don't work that well. Same with them. So making sure that they get their proper amount of exercise. We'll go back over some of these other comments, but yeah, I like that, but unfortunately it doesn't quite work that well, but I do like that. My dachshund would have agreed with you on that, yes. But even at 17 years old, I still made him, until he got really sick towards the end, I still made him exercise. I still made him get up every day and go outside. I still made him get up every day and go up and down the stairs every day until he got sick there towards the end. But yes, every day I made him exercise, because proper amount of exercise for the breed is required every day. And then I know this one, people are going to be a little, how do you consider that basic health? But hear me out on this one. Basic obedience. Ooh, let me make sure that's not my kids. No. Okay. Basic obedience. I consider that health. And let me explain why. If you can't walk your dog on a leash safely, that's not healthy. If you can't control your dog from, how are you going to get them safely on a leash, on a lead? How are you going to safely take them to the vet for their vaccines, for their checkups, for an emergency health scare? Basic obedience is absolutely part of being healthy. I absolutely believe that. So I believe basic obedience training is part of their basic health needs. So that, being able to safely walk on a lead, understanding sit, stay, no, come, the 5 basic commands, I believe, are essential to basic health for dogs. Absolutely. The 5 basic commands. Understanding basic obedience for dogs goes a long way for them to be healthier and to live a more full life. So I believe it is part of, the top 10 basic health concerns, needs for dogs. So I know people would argue with me on that. I have had people argue with me on that, but that is on my top 10 list for basic health concerns and needs for dogs. And that is my last for my top 10. So I'll go over them again quickly for those that may have missed. Nails, glands, mats, ears, eyes, teeth, shedding and skin, proper diet, proper amount of exercise for the breed, and basic obedience training. So I'm going to go back in the comments. Let's see what I missed. Okay. Okay, we talked about being similar for a lot of these being similar for cats. Yes, my baby is here with me. She is basically with me everywhere. Okay, and then we got my sound. Okay, there's my sound. All right. Okay. Yeah, making the cats, that's a good way. That does help. Oh, my laugh is contagious. I try. I try. Yes. A lot of dogs do get very depressed and nervous if they don't get enough exercise. And part of that is um, it's kind of like with us. If we don't get a lot of that hormonal release in our brain, um, we don't we get depressed and we get anxiety and we get all of those ugh. And that's kind of the same with them. um, they don't they don't get the feel good hormonal releases. So it's real similar with them too. So absolutely. Yeah. So okay, you definitely agree. See, I'm so glad that I'm not the only one. I love it. Parents of my friends. Yeah, that's hard. When they're that old, it can be sometimes pretty difficult. Um, but persistence. Um, Also, if lots of treats, of course, reflect that in feeding. If he's had lots of treats that day, kind of back off on how much food to account for how many treats. But lots of treats and find one that he really likes and really use it. Um, it's tough. I've been there. My husband and I usually only adopt elderly and senior dogs. Um, we don't typically get young dogs for the most part, so I get it. It can be tough, but old dogs can learn new tricks. Trust me. But patience and persistence. Uh, um, they can try kennel training. Dogs are den animals, and that might help him cope. Is something to think about. I'm not telling them what to do, but dogs are den animals, and sometimes having that den atmosphere with a kennel does help them decompress a bit. It's something to think about. Yeah. Oh, poor thing. Yeah, that might be something for them to think about if he's having a hard time with decompressing and being stressed out. Um, but again, I don't know the whole story if he was a kennel dog to begin with and lived his life in a kennel beforehand. I don't know the whole story, but a lot of rescues actually do well with kennels unless they've been kennel dogs before. No, 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 no. I love you, but you're fine. I'm doing okay. Don't give me that. Yeah. Yeah. When cats do learn skills, they usually are pretty happy to show them off. Okay, Mona, I love you too. We can work like this. We can work like this. Yes. Like this. Thank you, Kim. Yeah. These are usually, pretty much what I share. This is like my top 10 list. Yes. I have, so you see, I wear a lot of ear warmers and wraps and stuff. I have too much metal in my ears to let my ears get cold. I don't know if you've ever noticed. All right, off. So yeah, I have too much metal in my ears to let my ears get cold. Because when my ears get cold, they freaking hurt, and I'm good. My ears are pierced almost all the way up, and the tragus. So I don't like cold ears because, like I said, when they get too cold, they hurt. So I keep my ears covered a lot. Yay, hi, awakened. Hello, my dear. I'm going to have to go back and look for that one, Jen. Oh. Yeah, and that makes it hard too when they don't understand or don't know how to train a dog that's got issues. Um, yeah, that's tough. I'm gonna be adding some more to my training playlist, and as I do, you could just kind of, nonchalantly, hey, look what I found, and kind of just share it with them. Um, that might be a good way to kind of give them some tips without being like, hey, you don't know what you're doing, kind of thing. Um, that might be a good way. Uh, so think about that. Yeah, border collies are smart, and sometimes they're too smart for their own britches, for sure. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, they're smart too. Dogs are smart. Sometimes they're smart. Sometimes too smart for their own britches. Okay. He's not a resident. Then I would start with kennel training. Even though he's older, I would start with kennel training. Give him a space that is solely his own, where he can, like, enclosed kennel, covered kennel if they get one of the wire ones, or corner, somewhere where they can cover and make it darker, put some nice warm blankets in there, somewhere where he can, like, go to cuddle um and chill. Dogs are den animals, and that's where they will tend to, when they're stressed, that's where they'll tend to kind of revert to. They may have to kind of coax him in that spot, but once he learns that's the that's his decompressing zone, and that nobody will mess with him there. Nobody will, interact with him in that spot. See if that works for him. All right, Kim. Yes. Well, because I always wear my hair like up, but like my ears, no, too much metal in my ears. Don't like cold ears because then it hurts. Yeah. Yeah. Now, see, if I try to separate from Mona, it's a little bit different. She freaks out, and that's because she's with me all the time as my service dog, as you can see. But that's because she knows that she's supposed to be with me. So um, she doesn't like being away from me because she knows she's supposed to be with me because she's got a job to do. So it's a little bit different situation. She doesn't mind it if she's home with my kids or if she's home with my husband. But she doesn't like being home alone because then she knows that I have gone without her, and she doesn't like that. She'll tolerate it, but she doesn't like it. So, yeah. All right, off. We gotta finish so we can go get the kiddos. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Well, you'll have to, yeah, you'll have to let me know when that happens. Oh, yes. Panic as easily. So she is dual purpose. So she's mobility and psychiatric. So that's what she is. That's what she does. What breeds are they again? Or wait. Yeah, so she's actually my full-on service dog. This is actually what she does. Like I mentioned to Jen, this is part of her tasking. Um, this is actually her job. This is one of her jobs. All right, Jen. We'll talk to you later, my dear. All right, and it's actually a beautiful thing because I need to go get my kiddos. Yeah, she does. She also does. I have horrific insomnia. So she performs DPT. Um, and she is also a mobility aid. Uh, so she helps with balance and stability. Because I fall easily. And so she reminds me, she bumps me to remind me to check my balance. And so, yeah. Oh yeah, it looks like that. Yeah, looks like it is perfect timing for everybody. All right, folks, it was nice popping in and doing a quick live with you guys and just kind of touching bases on the top 10. Oh no. All right. All right, good to see you guys. Yeah, see, I'm showing full signal on my end. All right. I will see you folks later. Y'all have a good night. Until next time. You are welcome, Red. More than welcome. We'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.